Let me ask you a quick question. Between the time you woke up today and right now, did you think of anything you needed to do that you still haven't done? And be totally honest here, have you had that exact same thought more than once today? Well, why? Think about it for a second. It's a complete waste of your time and energy to keep agonizing over something that you're making absolutely zero progress on. Every one of these unresolved thoughts acts exactly like a hidden program running in the background of your computer. It's just draining your mental RAM and causing this low-level ambient angst that just kind of follows you everywhere you go. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a system designed to fix exactly that problem. We're diving into the core concepts of David Allen's revolutionary methodology, getting things done, which you've probably heard referred to as GTD. And look, this isn't just another generic time management hack or a lecture on working harder. It's actually a profound operational style. The whole goal is to give you a clear head and a genuine, positive sense of relaxed control, literally no matter how many crazy inputs are flying your way on any given day.
All right, here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The modern overload paradox. 2. Achieving mind like water. 3. Closing the open loops. 4. 5 steps to control. And 5. Processing your stuff.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the modern overload paradox. You know, the legendary management thinker Peter Drucker hit the nail on the head when he pointed out a massive shift in how we work. In the old industrial days, work was pretty self-evident. You plowed a field, you packed a box. The boundaries were crystal clear, and you knew exactly when the job was finished. But today, the vast majority of us are doing what's called knowledge work. And the catch with knowledge work is that our projects just don't have clear edges anymore. Think about it. How good could your next presentation actually be? How perfectly could you manage your inbox? The possibilities are literally infinite and the completion line is completely invisible.
And let's be real, on top of that, we live in a 24/7 wired world. Our jobs and our lives are constantly morphing. We're getting bombarded with this explosion of continuous, potentially important information. Our stress levels are going through the roof simply because work has lost its boundaries. You can work from anywhere, at any time, which leaves us with this lingering feeling that we should always be doing something else. We just haven't been equipped with the proper tools to handle this total lack of boundaries.
Moving right along to Section 2, achieving mind like water.
Enter David Allen and his globally impactful framework. His book, Getting Things Done, really serves as the foundational manual for stress-free productivity. And what makes this methodology such a game changer is that it's incredibly modular, very forgiving, and totally universal. It absolutely works for everyone. It really doesn't matter if you're a tech nerd who loves digital apps or if you prefer a simple old-school paper notebook. The core principles are exactly the same because they're based on how the human mind actually processes information and commitments.
Now consider this martial arts philosophy. And yeah, I know, it might seem completely unrelated to answering your emails, but just let this sink in. The power in a karate punch comes from speed, not muscle. Your ability to generate power is directly proportional to your ability to relax. True productivity isn't about striving or grinding yourself to the bone. In fact, a tense muscle is a slow muscle. Real productivity is about finding a state of perfectly relaxed readiness. Which brings us to this absolutely beautiful metaphor of mind like water. Imagine throwing a pebble into a perfectly still pond. How does the water respond? It responds totally appropriately to the exact force and mass of the input, right? And then it just returns to calm. It doesn't overreact and it doesn't underreact. In our own lives, anything that causes us to overreact or underreact is actually controlling us. Responding inappropriately to an email or even just agonizing over a passing thought about your boss totally disrupts your productive state. We want a mind that takes in inputs, handles them appropriately, and then immediately returns to a calm, focused baseline. Which takes us to Section 3, closing the open loops. Okay, so here's the crucial point. We really have to understand the true enemy of productivity here. David Allen simply defines this as stuff or open loops. An open loop is absolutely anything you've allowed into your world, psychological or physical, that doesn't belong where it currently is, but you haven't yet made a decision about what to do with it. It could be a massive concept like world hunger, or it could literally just be a dead battery in your kitchen flashlight. As long as it's undecided, it's constantly ringing a bell in your mind, demanding your attention.
And honestly, cognitive science completely backs this up. Think of your short-term memory exactly like RAM in a computer. It has a very limited capacity. When you try to keep all these open loops inside your head, your mental RAM just bursts to the seams. You become constantly distracted, and your performance naturally drops.
Your brain is meant to act like the computer's screen, a brilliant tool designed for focusing on what is directly in front of you. It is not a hard drive meant for the permanent storage of your unorganized, incomplete tasks. We have to get things out of your head to clear that RAM.
All right, Section 4, 5 steps to control.
To actually get this all under control, you need to follow 5 discrete stages of workflow mastery. 1. Capture what has your attention. 2. Clarify what it means. 3. Organize the results. 4. Reflect on your options. And 5. Engage with the task. This is very much a bottom-up approach. We start with a mundane, ground floor level of your current daily chaos, clear it out, and that automatically unleashes the creative energy you need to handle your higher-level goals.
Let's zero in on that vital first step, capturing. You've got to get 100% of these incompletes out of your head. Not just most of them, literally all of them. If it's on your mind isn't clear. You need to capture these into trusted external tools. Maybe that's physical in trays, a digital notes app, or even an audio recorder. The real trick here is to minimize the number of capture locations so you aren't overwhelming yourself, and then build a rock-solid habit of emptying those capture tools regularly.
And finally, Section 5, processing your stuff.
So when we look at processing, it's all governed by this precise logic workflow. It forces us to ask 2 absolutely critical front-end questions for every single input you've captured. First, what is it? And I know that sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how often we look at something and don't actually define what it really means to us. Second, is it actionable? If it's not actionable, you either trash it, file it away as reference material, or put it on a someday/maybe list. But if it is actionable, you must determine the very next physical action required to move it forward.
Once you figure out that very next action, you really only have 3 options. Option 1, do it. This introduces the incredibly famous 2-minute rule. If the action takes less than 2 minutes, just do it right then and there. Honestly, it takes more time to store it and track it in your system than to just handle it. Option 2, delegate it, if you aren't the right person for the job. Or option 3, defer it. If it takes longer than 2 minutes and it's definitely yours to do, defer it by tracking it on a dedicated next actions list to tackle later.
By setting this all up, you essentially master 2 key axes of control. Horizontal control is what keeps you afloat across the hundreds of random daily tasks, everything from buying stamps to answering client emails. Vertical control, on the other hand, lets you dive deep, giving you the mental space and focus required for larger, multi-step projects. A solid GTD system manages both seamlessly, keeping absolutely everything off your mind and safely housed in your trusted system.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge to put this into immediate practice. Think of the single biggest stressor currently rolling around in your head right now. If you had nothing else to do today but get closure on that one specific situation, what is the very next physical action you would take? Would you write an email? Call a friend? Drive to the hardware store for some nails? Make that decision right now, write it down, and just experience that incredible relief of finally moving that thought out of your head and into the real world.